I'm supposed to follow Jerry in a seamless transition. All I can say to begin with is ditto. I was told to fill up the next 40 minutes of time. But, because I'm a Leong, I don't listen. So I'm going to be a lot shorter than that. So, Alex Boy, in summary, was just a good guy. And to begin with, just to let you know, because I'm going to come back to this later, I had leukemia, in remission now, and thanks go to Alex. You have to excuse me as I go through this because we are a really close family. And Alex's loss, the big loss to us. But anyway, moving on. So what do you think Alex would say as we have this celebration? It would be something like this. Do not walk in front of me because I may not want to follow you. That's Alex now. He's not going to tell you that, but he may not want to follow you. Do not walk behind me because I may not want to lead. That's Alex again. But you know what? I want you to walk beside me and be my friend. That's Alex. Walk beside me and be my friend. That's all he would ever ask or expect of anybody. Now, people say, well, what did you guys do when you were kids? Well, first of all, in my first life, we were born to our dominant Chinese mother, and our life then, as other Chinese know, was dictated by whatever she said to do. We were too afraid to do anything else. So we more or less just listened to her. So we grew up in Kaimaki, and we were among the kiabi trees and thorns and blue lava rock. That's basically our playground, the streets. Our playmates were our neighbors. And that's what we did. We had a very simple upbringing. In Kaimaki, there was, on Saturdays, a Porky Pig Club. I don't know how many of you guys remember. You gotta be kind of old to remember that. But the Porky Pig Club, we would like to go to. They had cowboy movies and they had musical chairs. And my mother would let us go sometimes, but not all the time. And the main reason for not letting us go all the time, first she just didn't want us to go, but the reason given was, it's too expensive. That's the other Chinese mother reason. It's too expensive because back then, it cost 9 cents. And so, what do we know? You know, we just go whenever she says, okay, so then we go. Anyway, if your birthday was around the time of that particular Saturday, you could participate in musical chairs, and if you won, you would win a cake. Of the 5 of us, the only one to win a cake was Alex. He had the slippery butt that could get, and quietly now, he didn't say much, he quietly sneak behind you and sit down, right? So he won musical chairs. and he brought the only cake home to our household. That all 5 of us couldn't do that, but Alex did it. We would roam around the neighborhood. We played a couple in a park. I would tell Alex, watch out, don't go up in the stands because you're gonna fall down and you're gonna hit your head or something. You're gonna get hurt. So guess what? He fell down. He had stitches in his head, and we had to have him fixed up. But that's another characteristic of Alex. He could be stubborn. You can tell him something, he's not going to tell you no, but he's just not going to do it. So that is another, characteristic of our brother. In the yard in Kaimaki, we had to do our own yard work because yard men cost too much money. Typical Chinese mother. So we would be out there doing yard work, and we had a lot of nut grass. I don't know if you guys work in the yard, you know what nut grass is, but the nut grass grows very little above the ground, but very much under the ground in long roots with seeds. And if you don't get all of the seeds out, the nut grass is going to sprout again. So we'd be out there. Where did Alex go? Guess what? Alex is in the yard digging the nut grass one by one. Then he's underground trying to take out every seed that's on the root strand so that he could thoroughly eliminate that nut grass. That one now. So we got, Alex, get going, man. We got plenty more to go. But that's Alex. He would sit there patiently and calmly try to do a thorough job, and that's what he did. And whatever he did, and a good job, he tried to take every stupid nut out of the ground, and so 15 minutes later, he will have accomplished weeding one nut grass. You know what? It took too long. Alex, no bother, Alex, just go away already. And so we can finish the yard. But you're not totally stupid, because I'm not so sure that wasn't part of the plan. Alex was really, a smart guy. I tell you, you may not know it, but what part of what Jerry was saying is this. Alex was really smart, but he was especially smart in numbers. Alex is an 800 SAT score kind of guy, max, right, in math. So he was always good in math. So if you run across him and you wonder why he can figure this out, why he can figure that out, what the numbers are that he has calculated in his head, that's because Alex was really, really smart in math. And he continued throughout his livelihood doing that. And so he liked to gamble, he liked to do bridge, anything having to do with numbers. So that was one of Alex's characteristics. Now, at some point, I had leukemia, so I was up in Seattle. And then Alex shows up because Alex is going to be my donor. I didn't ask. The siblings had already figured it out. Alex was the only full match. So Alex came up and did everything required to be a donor. I was really careful. I asked the doctors many times. I want to be sure that nothing that's going to be done is going to negatively impact Alex, because if it is, forget it. I don't want it. And I was assured that no, everything was okay. We're going to test him, we're going to be okay, and he will not be harmed by any of this. So we went ahead and we did the stem cell transplant. So that's, that's a bone marrow transplant. Alex did that. And so we did it successfully on March 18th. Alex's birthday is March 19th. Then Alex came home. And shortly after coming home, he said, in talking to him, he said, oh, you know what, now I have lung cancer. I go, what? So Alec then had lung cancer, so we said, you know what, get your butt up here again to Seattle for cancer treatment. So both Alec and I were in Seattle, you know, we were undergoing cancer treatment. Now, we did the transplant, and I don't know if you guys are familiar, but what it is we take cells out of Alex, harvest them. The cells then go by way of a transfusion into me. So physically, Alex is part of me. So today he still is part of me. He's in here someplace, right? I don't know. He's in there. So, and he's still making trouble because I got sore stomach and stuff like that. But he knows exactly what he's doing. So anyway, so Alex is in, and he's a part of me. So guess what? I find out my AB positive blood is turning into B positive Alex's blood type. I will soon be totally B plus and no longer AB positive. I'm going to have Alex's blood type. But there are also other characteristics that have developed. I'm a little bit more bow-legged now. I lost some height. I mumble more. So what do you say? I mumble more. But you know what? I add and I subtract a hell of a lot faster. So, you know, we can thank Uncle Alex for all of that. He also raised 3 beautiful daughters. And Alex downplays that, but you cannot downplay that. That's really important. And there are a lot of ingredients that go into that. So this, what else did Alec do when he would tell us about his youth? I said, I can tell you a little bit, but not too much. And then so somebody tells me, don't tell him the story about when you and Alex were sleeping in the same bed in the same bedroom. He would get up and sleepwalk, walk to the corner of the bedroom and take a pee into the wastebasket. So I'm not going to tell you more about that, because otherwise I'm going to get scolded again. But that, you know, is Alex. He worked at the Board of Water Supply for 42 years. I helped get him the job. We started with computers, essentially, when they were first getting into computers, mainframe computers. And that just shows how Alec did not move around. Not a fickle guy, he's a steady guy. He's very dependable, very reliable, and he will do whatever is necessary to be done, and he makes no waves. So he fitted very well, you know, in the position. He was promoted, he fit very well in the government, he made no waves, you know. That made him a little bit different from some of us, like Chris and me. So, well, that's okay. He never was involved in any controversy. Alex's way of solving a controversy is to do nothing and then hope it would go away. And by and large, it worked. We present him with something and he doesn't tell you anything. He sits there and kind of, he's thinking all the time, but he's not going to tell you what to do. You do what you want to do, and he'll only let you know if he really objects to the conclusion, and he normally did not. And that's why Alex was such a good guy. He just went with the flow, did whatever he could to help you. He didn't care really what you did to him. And so, in summary, as I look at it, and I went through the first run of what I'm talking about today, and it was much shorter when I went through it before. But anyway, my conclusion was, this is kind of boring, you know. And that's another way you could describe Alex. He was so dependable, so straight line, so non-controversial. The guy's boring, you know. But it's a good kind of boring, because it's a kind boring. It's a thoughtful way that he approached things. He gave, he didn't take. He just basically gave quietly, and he gave to the institutions that Jerry mentioned, and many more. And that was Alex. So he wouldn't tell you. He would just do it. He would donate to charitable institutions in the name of, say, our kids. So we don't know about that, and we find out little by little. But that's what Alex would do. He didn't want notoriety. He didn't want credit. He just wanted to do good. And that's what, you know, Alex did. So up in Seattle, now we're joined back together again in Seattle, right? He comes up, he's a donor, he goes home, he's okay, then not okay. Then he comes back, and now we got 2 cancer patients. Him, the new one, and me, the old one. And so I'm feeling pretty bad. So I said, you know, Alex, I feel really bad. I apologize for your condition. And I just, you know, what can I do? And, you know, his voice was very weak at that point. But he says to me, you know, he says, don't worry about it. I said, huh? I said, but look at the situation you're in now. He said, no. He said, knowing the situation I'm in now, knowing that, he says, I would do it all over again. I go, wow. So that's terrific. He says, because you would do that for me. I said, you know, yeah. And he said, you know what? That's what we do for each other. This is the sibling bond. This is what we're supposed to do. So, after making that total sacrifice, after giving me a second birth, it was no big deal to him, because that is something that we're supposed to do for each other. We don't say anything about it. We just do it. And so I thought, what else can a sibling do for you other than to give you life? What else can you do? And so there is really very little. All you can be is thankful for his presence and generosity, and having known him for all of these years. So what, Alex boy? So what now? You know what he's doing? He's looking at us and he's thinking, do not walk in front of me, because I may not want to follow. Do not walk behind me, because I may not want to lead. Just walk alongside of me and be my big brother and my friend. And that's what he would say to all of you. Just walk alongside me and be my friend. Alex, we will miss you until we meet again. Maybe soon, but until we meet again. Aloha, Alex.